Dubai is burning, and the gold-plated illusion of the desert oasis has finally melted under the heat of $20,000 drones. On March 1st, 2026, the Skyline that international finance professionals called home became a gallery of smoke and fire. Luxury hotels like the Fairmont Palm and residential towers near the Burj Khalifa were no longer symbols of status, but sitting ducks in a new era of conflict. For a decade, the marketing campaign was simple: move here, pay zero taxes, and sleep soundly behind an iron-clad curtain of security. That curtain just turned out to be made of paper. Wealthy expatriates who fled London and Zurich for the sunshine and crypto-friendly laws spent their Sunday night huddled in underground parking garages because Dubai, for all its opulence, remarkably forgot to build bomb shelters. The evacuation of Dubai International Airport, one of the busiest hubs on the planet, marked the exact moment the region's entire value proposition evaporated. The calculation has changed overnight. It is no longer about how much you save on capital gains. It is about whether your bedroom window can withstand a kinetic strike. The greatest wealth transfer of the decade has just been triggered by the smell of jet fuel and panic. In this video, we will dissect the brutal economic math of drone warfare, track the massive reversal of global wealth back to the West, and reveal how Europe's boring stability just became the most valuable commodity in international finance. The survival of a global financial hub depends on a very simple equation. The cost of defense must never exceed the value of the peace it provides. But Iran just introduced the world to a terrifying piece of math that the Center for Strategic and International Studies has been warning about for years. It is called brutal economic asymmetry. On that single Saturday alone, Iran launched 137 missiles and 209 drones at the United Arab Emirates. From a military standpoint, the Gulf states are technically brilliant. They fire interceptor missiles that cost between $500,000 and $2 million per shot. They boast intercept rates of 95%. In any other era of warfare, that would be a resounding victory. But in 2026, it is a slow-motion bankruptcy. A single Shahed 136 drone costs Iran roughly $20,000 to $50,000 to manufacture. It is essentially a flying lawnmower engine strapped to a suitcase of explosives. When you use a $2 million Patriot missile to swat away a $20,000 drone, you are not winning a war. You are losing a ledger. Even if you shoot down every single incoming threat, the math remains undefeated. The defender burns through billions of dollars in sophisticated, high-tech hardware, while the attacker spends the equivalent of a mid-range luxury car. This is a war of attrition, where the sovereign wealth of the Gulf states is the primary casualty. Eventually, you simply run out of million-dollar interceptors, or the national budget required to keep buying them from American contractors. While Iran keeps churning out these cheap, mass-produced drones by the thousands, Dubai's entire defense strategy looks like trying to stop a swarm of mosquitoes with golden sledgehammers. It is unsustainable. It is mathematically impossible. And most importantly for the people watching from their glass penthouses, it is terrifyingly expensive. The financial war was lost the moment the first interceptor left the launch tube. Money is famously a coward. It does not stay where it is celebrated. It stays where it is safe. For the past few years, the narrative was that the old world was dying. According to the Henley Private Wealth Migration report, the United Kingdom saw a record-breaking exodus of 16,500 millionaires in 2025 alone. Most of them were chasing the zero-tax dream in the sand, turning Dubai into the top destination for global wealth for 3 consecutive years. But as of this week, that massive tide has officially turned. The calculation that built modern Dubai is being repriced in real time by people watching their skyline burn through their bedroom windows. Wealthy European expats are not just panicking, they are relocating. French wealth advisors are already reporting a surge in clients moving their primary residential bases back to cities like Zurich and London while keeping their businesses in the Gulf as mere shells for tax purposes. But even the tax benefits are being devoured by a new predator: the insurance market. Lloyd's of London and other global underwriters have effectively closed the tap. After the strikes, insurance premiums for political risk and commercial operations in the region spiked by as much as 300%. When the cost of insuring your luxury villa and your corporate office exceeds your tax savings, the economic logic of the desert oasis collapses. You moved to Dubai for stability and low taxes. Now you appear to have neither. The streets of London and the boardrooms of Frankfurt are suddenly looking very attractive again. These cities might be expensive and overregulated, but their buildings do not generally come with a side of drone strikes. The irony is delicious. The same people who spent years complaining about European bureaucracy are now begging for the boring, predictable safety of a European passport. The most biting irony of this entire catastrophe is that Europe did not actually have to do anything to win. They did not launch a marketing campaign or cut their tax rates. They simply sat back and watched the United States create its own vulnerabilities. The American military maintains massive infrastructure across the Gulf, from naval bases in Bahrain to sprawling installations in Qatar and the United Arab Emirates. While these bases are sold as a shield of security, Iran has just demonstrated they are actually giant magnets for trouble. Tehran is not targeting luxury hotels because it has a grudge against five-star service. It is targeting the logistics and military footprint of the world's superpower. In this new reality, hosting a United States military base is no longer a status symbol of protection. It is a liability that turns your financial center into a legitimate target. Meanwhile, Europe has spent the years following the conflict in Ukraine, becoming aggressively boring. They diversified their energy sources, reduced their reliance on volatile regions, and focused on internal stability. To a billionaire in 2026, boring is suddenly the most attractive word in the English language. Europe looks like a stagnant museum until the alternative is watching a suicide drone fly past your balcony. The European Union is now coordinating repatriation efforts for over 600,000 citizens, not as tourists, but as refugees from a war zone they paid to enter. The pattern is clear. American military presence creates targets. Targets attract asymmetric warfare, and asymmetric warfare is poison for capital. Europe wins by default simply by not being a bullseye. Dubai will undoubtedly rebuild. The cranes will return, the glass will be replaced, and the marketing brochures will be reprinted with even glossier photos. But the one thing you cannot buy back with sovereign wealth is the illusion of invincibility. Once the glass has shattered, the psychological damage is permanent. The wealthiest people on Earth just learned a painful lesson. Dubai's safety was never an inherent feature. It was a choice made by its neighbors. That illusion of the safe oasis has evaporated, replaced by the cold reality that geopolitical stability has a value far beyond any tax saving. For the first time in a decade, global capital is not looking for the highest return or the lowest tax bracket. It is looking for the most boring, predictable, and protected environment possible. Europe did not need to innovate or compete to win this round of the great wealth game. They just had to be the place where the lights stay on and the sky stays clear. Trust is the most expensive currency in international finance, and in 2026, Europe has effectively secured a monopoly on it. Dubai is not dead, but it is no longer the unquestioned sanctuary for the world's elite. The prize of the decade, the trust of the global investor, has just been handed back to the old world on a silver platter. So, what is your move? Would you trade a 0% tax rate for a 0% chance of seeing a drone from your balcony? Is the era of the desert tax haven officially over? Or is this just a temporary glitch in the system? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I am curious to see where you would park your capital in this new reality. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next analysis.